Welcome to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the six-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. And there is the engineer, the Steeler offense, Ben Roethlisberger. He faces Otto Graham and the Cleveland Browns, who had to battle last week against the New England Patriots and the rainy conditions to come away with a win against the Patriots thanks to a fumble recovery from Frank Minifield in the closing seconds. But now Cleveland invades enemy territory against their division rivals from across the way in the Pittsburgh Steelers and their raucous faithful along the banks of the Ohio, Allegheny, and Monongahela rivers. It's the Browns and the Steelers from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. The two rivals from years on end meet tonight from Pittsburgh.
Heartbreak rests on a foundation of glory. It's Otto Graham capturing 7 championships. To the dog pound coming home. Fulfilling the promise of the cardiac kids. These are the Browns. Pittsburgh, PA. The blue-collar city is black and yellow, both immaculate and terrible. From the steel curtain to the catch. It's always been about winning. One move. These are the Steelers.
Welcome to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh on a cool 34-degree afternoon, where today it's the AFC Divisional playoff game, the all-time Cleveland Browns and all-time Pittsburgh Steelers. Hello again, everyone. DeBock alongside Connor Focasano here from Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown on the kickoff return takes the knee in the end zone for a touchback. There is no doubt the number one team in the AFC throughout the regular season has been this team led by this quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback out at Miami of Ohio. He has turned heads ever since his rookie season, leading the Steelers to 3 Super Bowls and 2 championships. A part of this Pittsburgh Steelers team, 6 Super Bowl titles in their history. And the Steelers go to work with Franco Harris on the handoff. Good gain on first down. 9, nearly enough for the first down. Look at that Steelers starting offense. That includes Franco Harris, tailback, Antonio Brown, Johnny Stallworth, the receivers for this Pittsburgh offense. Connor, having seen the Steelers several times this year, it is evident Pittsburgh has so many weapons as they look to use it here on this opening series on 2nd and 2. Ben Roethlisberger this time works out of the empty with Franco Harris lined up in the slot. And Roethlisberger looks to throw on 2nd down, and he is sacked. Taken down in the backfield by Chip Banks. And look at that Browns defense. Frank Minifield along with Hanford Dixon, who recovered the fumble off the screen pass meant for Corey Dillon, or rather the screenplay that got blown up. And then the Browns came away with the win. 3rd and 9 for the Steelers. Here's Ben Roethlisberger to throw. His pass is caught. Antonio Brown down the sideline. And there goes Antonio Brown. And he'll take it all the way. Touchdown Steelers.
Well, the two best offensive players from their era for Pittsburgh taking it to the house on the 3rd play. Now look at Antonio Brown. Double teamed there and then goes to his right. That gives him a little bit of room to catch that pass right by the out-of-bounds marker and then takes it to the house. He wasn't even touched. And Antonio Brown's speed, we oftentimes forget about how that is such a big factor for him coming out of the line of scrimmage.
Extra point from Sean Sleason splits the uprights. And it only took 3 plays. Antonio Brown, a 79-yard touchdown, and the Steelers jump out in front early. A look at the earlier meeting between these two teams. And Cleveland found their stride. Well, it was a 10-10 game at one point. But then the Browns scoring 17 unanswered And Ben Roethlisberger had his worst day of the season in a Cleveland victory. But the Steelers with the first punch. Here's the kickoff return from Greg Pruitt. He lost the football and luckily able to come down with it. Here's Otto Graham and the Browns offense. And it was really a struggle last week against New England.
It certainly was, but now, considering the weather change, Danny, it's going to be a huge factor for the Cleveland Browns, considering it gives Otto Graham enough time to throw the football, not stumble back there. Football's not going to be wet and slippery, and you can also hand it off without having to worry about fumbling it as much to the great Jim Brown.
Brown checked in the end zone, nearly a safety. Talk about ball protection, and rush caved in immediately. Look at the Browns starting offense. Jim Brown, the tailback, will look out for him throughout the course of the afternoon. Max Speedy, Dante Lavelli, also a part of the receiving corps for Paul Brown's Cleveland side. 2nd and 10 with Leroy Kelly in the backfield. Steelers scored their opening drive, a 79-yard touchdown. Graham, his pass. Dante Lavelli lunges ahead, enough for a first down for Cleveland.
Dante Lavelli with a great cut up the middle. Hit the first down marker and then cut to his right. That gave him that separation that he needed to make that catch, and a perfectly placed pass by Otto Graham.
And he finds Max Speedy this time. He's tracked down. Steelers defense caved in immediately. Minka Fitzpatrick with a tackle, and there's so many places that you can highlight with this Steelers defense. Rod Woodson, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, the defensive line with Joe Green, James Harrison. There's so many names that you can recognize across this Steelers defense. See what the Browns can do here against their division rival. Lavelli in motion. Graham to throw. On 2nd and 6, his pass is incomplete. Nearly intercepted by T.J. Watt.
Yeah, and T.J. Watt, what a heck of a player he is. He can blitz the quarterback, he can drop back into coverage, he can make big hits.
Jim Brown, not much doing against Steelers defense with Jack Ham. Cleveland forced to punt. A lot of punting last week with Horace Gilliam, especially amidst the wet conditions of Foxborough. Browns look to beat both teams that have won 6 Super Bowls all time. They beat New England last week. Here's Antonio Brown, and he breaks through the first tackle before he's ganged up on at the 40 with 4:31 to go in the first quarter. Antonio Brown did have 79-yard touchdown on the 3rd play of the game. See what the Steelers offense does here. This is Franco Harris, and he's got a lane off left tackle to midfield.
And Pittsburgh has the advantage in the running game, and I'll tell you why. It's because they have that backfield with both Franco Harris and Jerome the Bus Bettis, and so they have so many options that they can go to. It's going to keep Cleveland on their feet.
False start, offense, first down.
From 1st and 10 to 1st and 15, there's Mike Webster, and oftentimes we overshadow the offensive line, and he was incredible over the course of his career. 4 Super Bowl titles under Terry Bradshaw's regime. This pass is caught by Heath Miller. Gain of 14, sets up 2nd and 1, and redeems the penalty yardage. Well, 2nd and 1. John Henry Johnson in the backfield along with Franco Harris, who has the football. And Harris does pick up the first down for the Steelers.
You got so many duos that are Hall of Famers on this Steelers team. You look at the quarterbacks and Roethlisberger and Bradshaw and then Jerome Bettis. And
here's a pass caught by Ward. Hines Ward lunges ahead inside the 20 to the 19.
You got Jerome Bettis and Franco Harris as the tailbacks. You got the receiving core of Lynn Swan and Stallworth. And then at the same time, if you take a look at the coaches, you have Bill Cowher and Chuck Noll. So many
Here's Roethlisberger, his pass over the middle. Antonio Brown has a touchdown.
Well, it's turning into the Roethlisberger Antonio Brown show very early, Danny.
His 2nd touchdown of the game.
And you can't have a zone defense leave the middle of the field that wide open for Antonio Brown.
Squeeze adds the extra point, and Pittsburgh leads it 14-0 with 2:14 to go in the first. What a stat line for Antonio Brown. 2 catches and 2 touchdowns.
Yep. Almost already at 100 yards, and we're on 2/3 of the way through the first quarter.
Here's Joe Cribbs on the return for Cleveland, and Cribbs pinballs down to the 23. Now Cleveland with a tough mountain to climb against the 6-time champions, having given up 2 touchdowns to Antonio Brown. Here's Leroy Kelly up the gut, and this time a gain of 7.
Well, 2 touchdowns, a huge factor, especially early on, because now it's going to be a game of catch-up for Cleveland, and it's going to force them to continually pass the ball instead of just hand it off up the middle every time.
They do hand it off up the middle, and the result that you might expect, Lawrence Timmons this time with the tackle.
No gain on the play.
Brings up 3rd and 3.
And Pittsburgh's defensive line thoroughly outweighs the strong suits of the offensive line for Cleveland, which is going to be a huge factor.
Here's Gary Collins. He wants the football. Jack Tatum with the recovery for the Steelers. And Ham down to the 35.
Welcome back to the Steel Curtain days. Jack Tatum with the huge hit. Jack Ham with the recovery. What else did you expect going into this one? Now we're going to see here the slow motion replay. Catches it up the middle. Otto Graham didn't really look up the safety there and led his receiver right into the hit. That's a big mistake by the quarterback.
Le'Veon Bell, the handoff. Yeah, Jack Lambert with the hit, and then Jack Ham with the recovery. 1-yard gain sets up 2nd and 9 for the Steelers. Already a tough mountain to climb for Cleveland, and they have got to come up with a stop of some kind of field goal at least. Stay somewhat within striking range. Roethlisberger's pass nearly picked off. Intended for Brown.
Number 84.
That's the first time Cleveland was able to successfully cover Antonio Brown with a triple team.
Great respect from the Browns defense. Here's Roethlisberger on 3rd and 9. He looks to run, and Ben Roethlisberger, he slides after a pickup of 7. That takes us to the end of the first quarter with the score, the Steelers 14, the Browns no score. Second quarter to come in a moment. Field goal attempt for Sean Sweezum as we start the second stanza, you can call it. As Sweezum lines up for a 45-yard field goal attempt out of the hold of Terry Bradshaw. Sweezum's kick is no good. He kissed the kick off the left upright.
And all you can, for Cleveland, all you can hope for is for him to miss that kick, because a 2-score lead in the early second quarter is so much better to come back from than a 3-score lead.
Graham's pass finds Dante Lavelli, and he gains 20 on the reception.
Once again, this lead's taken away the opportunity for them to just dink and dunk it down the field with a couple short passes in the running game. So it's forcing Otto Graham to step a little bit out of his comfort zone here. And I like to see Cleveland continue to do that and continue to do that successfully against this defense. You got to attack the Steelers defense, not play
Here's Jim Brown attacking the Steelers defense before Mel Blount stops him after a gain of 9.
3 rushes, only 10 yards on the day so far for Jim Brown.
And you have to expect Cleveland will throw the football, especially trailing by 14. Here's Jim Brown. He does pick up 2 set of downs to the 27.
Number 32 with the carry on the play.
Brown starting to show some life here. Here in the hostile environment. They're already going quick. You mentioned it, Connor. Here's Graham on the delay. Leroy Kelly. It's the 25 to the 23. Minka Fitzpatrick had the stop for the Steelers.
Well, when you're down by 2 possessions, what you want to do is you want to speed up your game and throw off the timing that Pittsburgh has been used to.
Graham is sacked. How's that for timing, James Harrison?
Everybody was surrounding him there. That was a blown offensive line. 5 guys were around autogram by the time he had the football.
A complete jailbreak. 3rd and 13. Graham, he's running for his life, and he's sacked. Jack Ham again. A fumble recovery, and now a sack, and the Browns are forced to punt.
Loss of 7.
Here's Horace Gillum. He sends one well deep into the end zone for a touchback.
And the Steelers defense, they'll do that to you. They'll kill you. And they can afford to do that. There's not a lot of defenses that can afford to blitz on every single down when the team gets almost to the red zone. But with how many weapons they have there, shoot. Might as well go for the quarterback.
Franco Harris this time with a gaping hole. And he has a first down for the Steelers. Again, the winner of this game will face the winner between the Raiders and the Colts. Nick Rice and Hank Simon will have the call from Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Here's Roethlisberger to throw. And he eludes the rush and goes deep down the field. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Hines Ward.
Number 86.
And as we head into this second half, the question is going to become if the Steelers can just continue this going into the second half, because oftentimes you kind of take your foot off of the pedal. You're not going to want to do that.
Harris for 2 yards, sets up 3rd and 8 on the way for Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh should continue to attack both offensively and defensively, which we've seen all half. Don't try anything new. It's been working for you.
Roethlisberger, he tries to fit one in for Heath Miller, short of the first down. And a punt on the way for the Steelers.
Huge stop for Cleveland. About 3 minutes for them to make get a touchdown here and bring it to a 1-score possession.
Jordan Berry's punt hits inside the 10 into the end zone for a touchback. So now, if you are Cleveland, down by 14, this is a possession. It's not must score, but it's inching closer to that. Speedy in motion. Graham looks to throw. His pass is incomplete. Intended for Dante Lavelli.
And that stop to get them to punt here was huge, because if they score here, going into the halftime, it's going to go from this is a close game to this might be a blowout.
Here's
Huge momentum shift.
His pass, Ozzie Newsome, near the sticks, just shy of the first down marker to bring up 3rd and inches.
10 on the play.
Cleveland looking for a first down here. Jim Brown, he's got the first down. To the 2-minute warning we go here in Pittsburgh. The Steelers lead 14-0. It's the Browns offense, after a defensive game last week, they look for points here. Here's Graham to throw, and he is sacked. Taken down in the backfield. Cleveland looks to go in the hurry up. To head straight back to the line of scrimmage. Graham from the shotgun lookout.
False start, offense. Repeat, 2nd down.
And Cleveland has not found their stride on offense. And we have 1:47 to go in the first half. Here's Graham on 2nd and 20. His pass hangs in the air, and he's intercepted. Picked off by Jack Lambert. And he is decked at the 37.
Well, it's as if it's the full 1970s team playing. Jack Ham with the recovery last time, and now this time Jack Lambert. My goodness, this looked like a Lynn Swan catch. Look, he jumps up into the air, catches it backwards. What a great athletic play.
Roethlisberger, he looks to run. Then Roethlisberger slides after a gain of 8. Brings up 2nd and 2 for the
Smart play by Ben.
Steelers.
Saw that there was nobody there and immediately took off. No reason to try to throw the ball in the coverage when you have a 14-0 lead. Play it safe.
On 2nd and 2, Brown in motion. Roethlisberger to the air. He finds Antonio Brown, and he is leveled and hurt. Boy, that's not a good sign. Antonio Brown, who his first 2 receptions were touchdowns, this time a hard hit, limits him to the deck.
Ooh, and this Antonio Brown, I know that he wants to play in this game, so we'll have to get an injury update on him, but it looks like he was grabbing his chest there, Danny. He may have just had the wind knocked out of him, and that's what Pittsburgh is hoping for.
Tommy James with the hit. Here's Roethlisberger. He throws towards the end zone. It is incomplete, intended for John Stallworth. 2nd and 10 on the way.
Going for all of it there. And who can blame him, too, with this receiving core? With Antonio Brown out, you still got Lynn Swann and John Stallworth.
Harris, this time, gain of 6. 3rd and 4 on the way. Steelers do call their 2nd timeout. Le'Veon Bell in the backfield for the Steelers offense. Roethlisberger, he backpedals and throws to the end zone. Incomplete.
And
4th
Cleveland
down
is
on
in
the
a
way.
do-or-die situation here, Danny. I mean, whether they score the field goal or the touchdown, it's a three-possession game anyway. They're hoping for the block or a missed kick.
Sweeza missed one earlier. He does not this time. And the Steelers lead 17-0 with 52 seconds remaining in the first half. Sweeza boots through the field goal. See what the Browns can do late. And this is the case. They do get the football to start the second half. Here's Greg Pruitt on the return. Out to the 18 with 48 seconds to go. And this is the case. You gotta go for broke.
Yep.
Down by 17. See what Graham can do here. He works out of the empty. Graham. His pass is intercepted. Picked up by Mel Blount. And Blount breaks away for a pick 6.
What a defensive juggernaut of a team. We have a fumble recovery. We have an interception now, an interception return for a touchdown.
Incredible. Sweezen's extra point is good. And the Steelers lead it 24-0.
Well, this is every Pittsburgh fan's dream, Danny. They wanted Cleveland. They wanted Cleveland to beat in the divisional, the wild card round last week so that they could play them, and 24-0 lead. My goodness.
Wow. See what Cleveland can do here, and you're running out of ideas if you're Paul Brown, you would think. 39 seconds to go. Graham gets away. Long ball throw. Another pick. No, Blount. Again. Blount. Down at the 29-yard line. 2 interceptions in less than 10 seconds.
And you don't see this a lot by Otto Graham. He's typically got his head in the game, but I mean, he's been thrown off. He's been being blitzed hard all game, forcing him under pressure, and it's just a testament to what the defensive line is doing. They've been ripping the offensive line up like paper, and Otto Graham does not have the time that he needs to escape from that pressure and make a good, accurate throw.
Roethlisberger to the end zone. Miller, touchdown, Pittsburgh. And this is turned into a rout.
Oh boy. There's absolutely no pressure on this offense. And when it gets to a point, Danny, when there's no pressure on you, you've got such a big lead in a playoff game, it just becomes backyard football game. You're just playing for fun, and it takes the stress off. And really quick touchdown for 6 there, and it's 31-0. Who would have expected this?
2 scores in 14 seconds. First, the interception from Mel Blount, returned for 6. Mel Blount with another pick, soon to follow. And this time, Heath Miller with a touchdown catch from Ben Roethlisberger. And the Steelers well on their way to hosting the AFC Championship, where they'll face either the Colts or the Raiders. What would you expect in the AFC divisional game soon to follow, days to come here, Connor?
Well, it's so fun because both of these teams have so much history between the Steelers, the Ravens and the Steelers, with the big rivalry, and then with the immaculate reception of the Raiders in the 70s.
Brown on the handoff. Timeout Cleveland. 14 seconds. Yeah, you have the Baltimore team with the connection to Johnny Unitas involved, although he's not starting, we expect. Here's Kelly, and he picks up a few yards. And if it's the Raiders and Steelers, that's reigniting a classic rivalry of the 70s. You remember the Immaculate Reception. So many great memories between the Raiders and Steelers. All those playoff encounters. Here's Graham on 3rd and inches. He finds Gary Collins taken down. Browns call their final timeout.
And of course, it'd be a very interesting quarterback matchup, considering you'll have probably Ken Stabler going up against the new Ben Roethlisberger. So something we haven't seen before as Graham drops back to throw here.
And this pass is incomplete, intended for Dante Lavelli. And mercifully, the game comes to an end. The Pittsburgh Steelers are moving on to the AFC Championship game. They trounced Cleveland in the AFC Divisional. Mel Blount, 2 interceptions and a pick 6 in a span of 14 seconds is all it took. The Steelers moving on to the AFC Championship game. What a heralded franchise, a 48-7 victory over Cleveland. But that's all the time we have for tonight's broadcast. A special thank you to everyone who makes this broadcast possible. For Connor Focasano, I'm Danny Bock saying so long and take care, and thanks for being with us. Your final score, the Pittsburgh Steelers 48, Cleveland Browns 7.